Hi everyone, I'm Kaitlin, and today I'm going to share a presentation on Robert Arneson. He is an artist who changed everything people thought they knew about ceramics. He used humor, sarcasm, and deep personal expression to elevate clay into something that could compete with painting and sculpture in the fine art world. I chose him because, as someone who also works with ceramics, I found his approach bold, a little bit weird, and honestly really inspiring. So, a little bit about him. Robert Arneson was born in 1930 in California, in a small town that ended up playing a huge role in his life and work. He started out as a cartoonist and an art teacher before discovering clay. What's so cool is that, unlike many artists of the time, he didn't just treat ceramics as something functional or decorative. Instead, he used it to make art that was funny, biting, and sometimes even uncomfortable. He was a leader in what's called the funk art movement, a West Coast style that embraced weirdness and broke away from the seriousness of the New York art scene. What makes Arneson so remarkable is that he took something people thought of as just craft, ceramics, and used it to make strong emotional and political statements. He created a whole new space for ceramic sculpture in the contemporary art world. A big part of his legacy is also his work as a teacher. He spent nearly 30 years at UC Davis mentoring a new generation of artists. His personality really came through in everything he did. He was smart and unafraid to be vulnerable or controversial. One of my favorite quotes from him is, "I see myself as a kind of art warrior," which I think perfectly captures his spirit. Arneson's work is instantly recognizable because of how personal it is. He turned himself into a subject over and over again. His self-portraits weren't polished or idolized. They were exaggerated, messy, and often included scribbled text, broken surfaces, or even weird facial expressions. He used puns and sarcasm in his titles, and so there's just this playful layer, but underneath, he was addressing serious things like war, aging, politics, all of that. His use of clay wasn't just technical, it was also emotional. He let the material speak, crack, slump, and exaggerate, which gave his work a really human feeling. I picked 3 artworks of his, I think, that really show his range. The first one I chose is California Artist. It's basically a bust of Arneson sitting in a toilet, which is his way of poking fun at how ceramics artists were looked down on by the art world. He literally put himself in the toilet, and it's funny, but it also makes a statement. It's kind of hard to see in that photo, but anyways. The second is Doyen, which is a portrait of him as an older man. His face is drooping, tired, and full of character. It's vulnerable and personal, but it still has that same exaggerated style. And then the third piece is General Nuke, which is the idea of military authority and nuclear power. The sculpture looks super aggressive and absurd at the same time, but I think all these show Arneson wasn't afraid to kind of mix politics into his art, even when it made people kind of uncomfortable. I really connected with Arneson because of how personal and fearless his work is. As somebody who creates with clay, like I said earlier, I admire how he took something so physical and messy and turned it into a powerful storytelling tool. I also love how he didn't try to be perfect. He embraced the weird textures, distortions, and flaws. That's something I want to do more in my own work. He used a sense of humor, and that's another thing that I really appreciate. It makes the work accessible, but also leaves a deeper impact once you really think about it. And he just reminded me that ceramic art doesn't have to be beautiful or traditional to be meaningful. It just has to be honest. So kind of in conclusion, Robert Arneson changed how people think about clay. He opened the door for it to be part of serious art conversations. His mix of self-reflection, humor, and social critique helped to define what ceramics could do, and that impact is still felt today. Whether he was poking fun at himself or challenging the government, his work always made a statement. For me, he's a reminder that art can be loud, weird, funny, and even a little uncomfortable, and still carry real meaning. He once said, art is not about pretty pictures, it's about making people think, and that's exactly what he did. So thank you so much for watching. Here are my references.